Are you stuck? How about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for Magical Moments with Alena as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. Alena will help you take control of your life and push you to do the things you never thought you'd do. So get ready to take back your power and celebrate life with Magical Moments featuring Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments, and I'm your host, Alena Chapman. And you know, I talk about this show always being about the ease and flow in life. And right now, I wanted to say something to you. Stop punishing yourself. Yes, you heard me. Stop punishing yourself. Right now, in this wonderful world of ours, we have this opportunity to realize that fear is limited, that decisions made in fear are knee-jerked, usually not right, and are limited. And yet, we are being fed, I'm calling it an opportunity, this opportunity to realize this fact every single day, almost every single minute of our day. We are constantly being fed one thing or another. It's either a new variant on a coronavirus. It's either a new something going on in Congress. It's Roe versus Wade. It's things at the border. It's things, oh my gosh, the constant something is always being fed. And if that's not enough, then they add something else. And then you turn on maybe YouTube or something to try to get away from it, and it's even more. Then you've got people arguing, anti-vaxxers and vaxxers, and people who say you're being shut up, and other people who say you're saying too much. You've got so much going. We've got a lot going on in this world. But it's an opportunity, folks. It's an opportunity to say and to learn that if we get swallowed up in this fear and we don't stop and develop tools to start to look inside ourselves, to take the walk in nature, to be around with friends and family that love us, to present, you know, I've lived through a lot in my life, probably more than most people. And that's why I do what I do, to be really quite honest. And there was a time in my life when every day, it wasn't just worldly things. There were things that were happening to me and my family that were pretty darn horrible. And I had to figure out which world I wanted to live in. Now that I'm going to say again, I had to figure out what world I wanted to live in. I could get swallowed up in that fear. Lord knows I saw people get swallowed up in the fear. They didn't end up so good. I sat down one night and I wrote down 5 things that I wanted for my boys. They were 9, 7, and 5. I said, what do I want them to remember about family? What do I want them to remember about themselves when they look back at their childhood? And I wrote down things that we can always depend on each other, that we are strong together, that we have ideas and they are to be valued. 5 things that I thought, this is what I'm going to foster. This is the world I'm going to bring. I am going to create and just make a powerful, beautiful life with my family and make it strong. And that doesn't mean I was blind to what was going on, but it means I didn't get swallowed up with it. And right now, we have people getting swallowed up into the fear. And when you get swallowed up in the fear, you do not see the sunlight coming in. But when you see that sun, you find your things, how you want to live your life, you set your sights on that, then all of a sudden you come up with answers for that other world, that not so good world, because you have clarity of mind and you are not in the limiting fear cycle. So I'm telling you guys, if you guys are sick of living in the fear, which I hope you are, I really do. We need a lot of people to be sick of the fear. Check out soulmanifesto.com. Send me gosh, I'm so accessible. You can contact me here at the radio station. You can contact me on Instagram, YouTube. You can go to Soul Manifesto and go to info@Soul Manifesto. That wonderful little email, info@soulmanifesto.com. Piece of cake. And just say, Alena, I've had it. I want to find more meaning in my life. I want to find out a way that's better than this. And I'm there. That's why I do what I do, folks. That's why I do what I do. But here, I have a guest that is pretty incredible also. And I really I think you're going to like this, especially if you're looking into business. And a lot of us are. Rodolfo Carillo is a conscious leadership shaman. I love that because I'm on a shamanic journey too. So, hello. Rodolfo has developed this powerful system for achieving leadership of the fullest potential, as well as a deep, sustainable personal mastery and business growth. Wow. Isn't that cool? No, people are out there trying to help us, Rodolfo is an MBA graduate that has been involved in mentoring transformational leaders, business consulting, and training for more than 15 years, and has participated as an independent director in more than 25 business boards. He has also been mediating and meditating in a personal and spiritual development path since he was 7 years old. Oh, Rodolfo, we have to talk about that. He is a very interesting man. I think you're going to find him a very fun person to learn from. He has a unique combination of business skills, experience, and spiritual wisdom that triggers profound transformation through his work. So this is going to be an incredible show. And hello, Rodolfo. How are you?
Hello. I'm very happy to be here. Very honored to be your guest today. So thank you for having me.
We're honored for having you. All right. I have to ask right off the bat because I had my gifts were bestowed on me when I was 7. So what happened to you at 7 years old?
I came home from school and my foot was hurting. And I couldn't, I spent the whole afternoon with pain in my foot. I couldn't sleep at night. My mom told me that she was going to help me relax. And she guided me through a meditation. At that moment, I obviously did not understand what that was, but she guided me through a meditation. I spent the night in that meditative state. When I woke up the next morning, my foot was swollen to almost twice its size. So she took me to the doctor and took an x-ray, and the doctor said, well, he's got a broken toe. So he asked, when did this happen? And my mom told him he's been complaining of pain since yesterday. The doctor goes no, there's no way that happened yesterday. This hurts too much, and there's no way this kid slept through the night with the pain. My mom goes well, I don't know how he did it, right? But obviously she knew. Right. And after that, she told me, you want to keep on learning to do these relaxations that we did. I'm sure I loved it. And so she got me started on the path.
Yeah. Yes. It is incredible. I was very intrigued because in my life, I've been able to escape the pain also. And, in meditative state, almost a trance, you can just get Buddhists do it too. I've heard the Dalai Lama talk about that. You've seen, getting the body, you've seen monks who sit in, boiling water and say it's cold. They can transcend the physical matter by that wonderful mind. Our mind is so powerful. It's so incredibly powerful. And we just don't realize it. And your mom was teaching you how to control the mind. I mean, that's what she was teaching you. And what a wonderful mom.
Oh, yes, she is. She is. And she got me into this path. that at that moment I did not understand the power of it, but probably the past 15 years has it. Well, she also, when she started teaching me, she also told me, it's like, you can't share this with anyone. So I grew up, and I still live in Costa Rica. And Costa Rica was a very Catholic country at that moment, and very closed off to other ideas. So
Really? That's all over the world right now.
That I was going to be deemed crazy. So she told me, don't tell anyone. And I kept it a secret for almost 12 years. My best friend didn't know I meditated till we were like 18, and he's been my friend since we were 6.
Meditating is something you have to hide. That's amazing to me. Because meditating, is meditating. Meditating is a way to just calm yourself, center yourself, get yourself into a place where you can see reason. It's so interesting that we find this stuff. If it's not outside of us, we can't trust it. Now, in your business, you start teaching people to look within, just like I do. But you work with businesses. Now, this is the thing that I find so interesting. We've got a lot of new businesses popping up, and we've got people who, they're trying to make something. They don't want to go back to the 9 to 5. They don't want to go back to toxic relationships in the workplace. They want to make more money. I know my daughter-in-law not yet daughter-in-law. Jumping that gun. She started a business online. She's killing it. So when people start these businesses and then they're starting to all of a sudden you start getting more people involved. You subcontract more people or you hire more people. And then things start to take on a life themselves. And the dream you had sometimes gets lost in that. How do you help people who had this wonderful idea, wanted to bring it to the world, but it's getting mucked up with all the red tape of the business, or what I'm saying, or people aren't as motivated as you are, or they don't get your vision totally, they get parts of it. How do you get the leader to be a leader?
Yeah. So you were mentioning something that was that I loved at the beginning. You were mentioning about choosing the world we want to live in.
Yes, that's very important. That's the key to everything. Yeah. It really is.
Exactly. So I use a slightly different language. It's like, let's create the world we want to live in.
Ah, there you go.
So, yeah. So I think we're saying exactly the same thing. I just like the word creating, because that when we assume the role of creators, we become leaders by definition. Right. So basically, when I work with business owners or like high-level managers, basically what we want to do is we want to combine their inner state, like as long as we are in an inner state of peace, and joy, and loving what we're doing, we can spread that around.
Yes.
And then the other part is how do we spread it around, right? So, but it always starts within. So it's about bringing our awareness within and understanding what's motivating us, what is that world that we want to create for ourselves and then for others. Like you were saying, it's like we're tired of 9 to 5, 5 to 6 days a week. It's like that doesn't make sense.
It never does.
Work, right? To work a job that we don't like. Mm-hmm.
To sit as a cubicle. I mean, I couldn't do it. I'm a terrible secretary. I'll tell you right now. I really stink at it because I get bored, and it's the same thing every day. I tried it. I actually tried it, and I learned I'm really bad. I'm just not motivated, and it's hard. And even when I look for an assistant, I know the kind of person to look for, and that person has that want for organization. It's funny, we have these desires inside of us, and we know they're there, but so many times we fight them to try to fit in. Do you find that?
Yeah, and that's exactly the key, is understanding that we are all programmed to belong to a system. We are social beings. We are the most defenseless cub in nature. when we're born, and we need others to survive. So we're naturally programmed to belong to a tribe, to have a group, to contribute to the group, so that the group contributes to our well-being. Right? That's our natural programming, and when we translate that into a single word, or two words, that is understanding interdependence and using purpose to connect to the system. Right. So
let's talk a little bit about that. How do they bring their purpose in a way that's understood into the business? Because that's the one thing I hear with business owners. I have this vision, but I can't get my team to understand, especially, even medium businesses. A lot of people are subcontracting more and more and more. So how do I get these people on my mission?
Yeah, well, the mission has to be expansive, and that means if my mission is to make myself a millionaire at the expense of others, it's going to be really hard to get people engaged in that, right?
Right.
But if my mission is to create a better world, to create well-being for those with whom we interact with,
yes,
it's very simple to engage with that. And just see, all you have to do is pay attention to foundations and NGOs that work all over the world. They have volunteers some of them are actually paying to be a part of the NGO, right? Because they want to make a difference, because they want to contribute to others, because they take pleasure. We take pleasure as human beings in seeing other people happy, right? Unless
you're bringing up a good point. Yeah. So what you're talking about, and tell me if I'm wrong, of course. You're talking about getting out of the ego part of me. I am the star. I'm the one. I'm bringing this to the world, to a higher purpose, such as I'm creating a better world. And everybody wants to get on board with that because it is a higher goal and it's inclusive. The I is I. It's ego. It's only me. People are like, well, good for you. Go for it. I wish you luck, Now, that is an incredible concept. I want to talk a little bit more about that because that's even in our lives. Our wonderful gifts that we bring to the world, and as we're creating whatever we want in our life, it is that for when I was going through that time in my life, it wasn't, I'm just going to create peace for myself. That wasn't going to be enough. It was more of, I want to create this world where I'm growing a family that is healthy, happy, non-damaged, and thrives in their lives. And all of a sudden, it elevates it. It elevates the mission into a higher purpose, and everything flows because you have divinity on board.
Exactly, and that's exactly the key. And what I work on explaining to people, but especially to leaders, is that this is naturally programmed in us. This is nothing. We don't have to go seek for this, or we don't have to convince people that purpose is going to make us happy. All you have to do is provide the experience. Right? And that will trigger that natural state of in our mind that is seeking to belong, seeking to contribute, seeking for safety. And our mind is programmed to feel safe when we're surrounded, when we have a tribe, when we feel supported by others. Right? So as we provide support, others provide support for us, and we start to thrive as a group. Right? Because that's the only way we can thrive as humans. The only way we can thrive is in groups.
Yeah.
And that's how we've built everything.
And it's so much more fun,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun to have people that you can talk to, like have a mastermind within you. Carnegie did that. Carnegie, he really didn't know a whole lot about steel mills when he bought his steel mill, but he did know his gifts. I think a leader needs to know their gifts. Mm-hmm. He knew that he was he was a good communicator. He was a good networker. But he didn't know anything. So his mastermind was actually his people who ran the steel mill, people, the managers, and he would meet with them. He knew that this was a group effort. It wasn't just him.
Exactly. And that's where bringing our awareness within, understanding what we're good at, and that's what we bring to others. And then, like you mentioned, like taking the ego, putting it to the side, and putting ourselves in service and allowing others to come and be of service to a higher purpose, not to me, but to a higher purpose, that actually creates greater engagement and better results.
Now, this brings up another point, and this is what I hear. But Alena, it's the bottom dollar. We got to make money. This is not just a hobby of mine. This is a business. I need to make money. Now, of course, what do you say to that?
Businesses who focus on well-being, on creating well-being, and it really doesn't matter. I'm not talking about wellness centers. I'm talking businesses who care for their system are actually more profitable than businesses who don't, because clients feel taken care of, so they'll become loyal. Providers feel taken care of, so they'll give you their better products, and they'll take care of you when you need it. The community that feels embraced by the business or taken care of by the business, they will embrace that business and they will take care of the business, right? So it actually ends up being more profitable. And there's a very interesting study conducted by Raj Sisodia, which is a Harvard professor, and he identified 10 businesses that he considered conscious businesses who have these principles of taking care of acting from purpose and taking care of their whole system. And he followed them for 10 years. And at the end of 10 years, those businesses end up being 10 times more profitable than their peers in the industry.
What were some of them?
3M is one of them. I'll have to check on those because I can't remember the one. But
there's 10. It's hard. Yeah.
3M is really interesting.
Yeah, but people can look that up because that's very good. That's like Think and Grow Rich gives you those kinds of things that brings you, they give you 7 things that can help you make a business thrive, and all of them are cooperation, higher level of thinking, taking action, even though you're not sure, having faith in it. It's wonderful stuff. And then over here, he gives you what is not going to make a successful business, which I find very interesting. And they're true. Lack of motivation, selfishness, basically only concentrating on yourself. And this is big because I have a business of my own. I have had people with me since the very beginning. They love the business. We have a higher meaning, and it's not all about me, because as I grow, I want to have other people do what I do in my business. I'm not the only one who can do this. And so with that feeling, gosh, guys, it frees you when you can let go of you. Let go of, it's got to be me. I've got to be the one. When you let go of that, that's what fosters growth for everyone. And it takes you out of that bubble of I have to do, I have to be the star, I have to be the one, the boss, I have to be the decision person. It really, and instead what you get in place is a fertile growth area in your business that has ideas and creativity and meets challenges without fear, because they got the support system in the business. That's basically what you're teaching people, correct? Exactly.
And the key is that it all starts within ourselves.
It really does.
Before we can bring the team together, before we can invite others to expand themselves and to grow and engage in the business, we first have to look within and understand what's the role our ego is playing, what's the role our belief system is playing, how are we showing up for the team, for the business, right? And as we transform what's going on within, we learn to show up in a different way that facilitates engagement and facilitates others to show up in a greater way so that we can all thrive together.
It's true. He's speaking the word, folks, because I'll tell you what, I've known so many people with businesses, and every time a crisis comes, it's not the one who's worried about the bottom line of dollars that succeeds. It's the person who says, oh my gosh, we have to serve this. This is a crisis. We need to help. How can we help? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a factory that sells masks. I'm gonna start a business that helps people get in ease with themselves. Did you see? We all get creative instead of getting swallowed up by the limiting fear. So how do people find you, Rodolfo?
Yeah, the easiest way to find me is through my either social media or webpage. Webpage is very simple. It's www.ser, which is SER, leader.com.
I love that.
And you can find me on, yeah.
And what's the name of your program?
It's Being Leadership. And the model that I use is called the SER model. SER. S-E-R.
S-E-R.
That is the verb to be in Spanish. So it's because what I teach is and what I work with leaders and people in general is how do we manage our inner world so that we can be whatever we want to be, right?
Yes.
And what we want to be, our natural state of, like our natural impulse is to be people who contribute to others' well-being, right? That's our natural programming.
Beautiful. If you are someone who is saying, Alena, I know that I'm ego-driven. I know that I'm and I'm stuck in this fear. And why aren't I? Because it's all over, everywhere you look. How do I get out of this? Well, then, again, folks, get hold of me. Soul Manifesto. We have Soul Talk, which helps every day. Every Thursday, we talk about things that concepts that can help you that week to conquer this fear. Remember, spirit is love, folks. And love is spirit, not fear. It's not in there. Namaste.
This has been Magical Moments with Alena, featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.